It's Dr. Teran, and you're listening to The Pop. The Pursuit of Peace podcast is brought to you by SP Consulting Group, where the mission is bringing your vision to life. We are here today to talk about the pursuit of peace and self-care matters. So I wanted to get on here specifically because there's been a lot going on, a lot of people scared, a lot of people started to get really, really anxious. And I wanted to just make sure that we had an opportunity to check in with some of you guys on some specifics. So when we're talking about self-care matters, some people are like, well, what does that have to do with anything? I'm stressed out. We've been in quarantine since 19th is when at least California's governor said that we would go ahead and shut it down. But I know I've been in quarantine since the 19th. Just because of everything that's been going on, and I have a compromised immune system. So I said, well, how about I just go ahead and stay in the house and not get sick? But something that I'm noticing that a lot of people are having trouble with is actually getting to the point where they're getting anxious, they're getting restless, and that's what I would call cabin fever. So what is cabin fever? It's basically where you're getting really, as I said, restless, you're really irritable, and it's a lot of times similar to anxiety, but it's not anxiety. And I'm going to go into that in a little bit, but I just want to let you know that it's cabin fever and not anxiety. But with cabin fever, for those that are usually in cold climates, you think of cabin fever in the sense of, okay, it's wintertime and I'm stuck in here for a forever long time because of the winter. When actuality, it's about being confined in isolation, being in isolation. So a lot of people, because of the self-quarantine or even just the order for you to stay at home, you are getting to the point where you're just like, oh my goodness, I'm getting stir crazy. I want to get out of here. I want to go. But we do have to stay in. So I wanted to be able to come on here and let you know that a big part of what you need to do during this time, during this stay-at-home order that we're hearing is just getting started, is don't ignore the signs. Don't ignore the fact that you're getting anxious and it's like, I got to get out of here feeling, or even just the thought, I can't get out when I want to get out, or I am around people. If I go out, I'm around people, I have to go grocery shopping, whatever it is, don't ignore the signs. Make sure that you are addressing it head on. So make sure you address it head on, commit to it. And when you're committing to it, that means, okay, I have addressed it. I'm going to do something about it. Not just saying, hey, I'm not feeling this. Let me find something else to do, but really make a plan. So not only are you making sure you don't ignore the signs, be sure to address it head on and commit to addressing it, but also share what you're feeling with a partner or a friend. Let them know, call someone and let them know. Have that conversation, and even that conversation alone may actually help you. So make a plan is the next thing. So this is pretty much a four-pronged focus for when you're trying to figure out, is this cabin fever? Is it just that I'm getting irritable because I have this anxiety that's going on and I just can't get out of isolation? I have to be here. So what you want to do is just make sure that you don't ignore the signs, be sure to address it head on, and share what you're feeling with a partner or a friend. So make sure that you're not just going stir crazy and getting cabin fever and, oh, how long is this stay-at-home order going to be? But make sure that you're actually making a plan. So what does making a plan look like? Like I said, it's not as simple as, okay, I am going to go play cards and play solitaire or something, or just watch endless TV and Netflix and binge Netflix. No, you want to set in plans that, again, attend to your mind, body, and your spirit. And something that I wanted to do is share with you an example of what that could look like. For when I make a plan, and this is something I'm in the process of doing, so I'm doing this together with you guys so that I don't get stir crazy as well or get cabin fever, is I am making plans that stick to what they call SMART goals. And a lot of people in the mental health field or those that do a lot of action planning and strategic planning know about SMART goals. SMART goals, you break it down into acronym. S being specific, M being that it is measurable, something that you can know has been accomplished, it's measurable. A being that it's attainable, it's not something that's not realistic and that you won't be able to attain. And R being, as I say, realistic, it has to make sense. Timely being that it is specific in time. So I'm going to give you an example. So for example, I want to start getting up in the morning and making that time before a lot of people get up, especially with the weekend coming. Get up a little bit earlier than maybe those in your community. You may know the typical times that people start to get out, but take that time to make sure that you are getting up. Okay, I'm going to set my alarm for, 7 a.m. Again, getting ready for the weekend. I'm going to set that alarm at 7 a.m. At 7 a.m., I am going to specifically get up and go for a walk for 20 minutes at a minimum. If you can walk for longer, that's nice. If it's a little less, that's fine too, but start at a time. So like I said, using myself as an example, I'm going to set my alarm for 8 o'clock on the weekend, so Saturday and Sunday, and I'm going to try to also do it at least once or twice during the week. The reason why, with it just being walking, you can just get up and walk. It's not that big of a deal. But what you want to realize is that if you are already not in a cycle and not already in a routine, it takes you more time. It takes more effort for you to prepare for that, right? So you want to get your body used to it by slowly getting to a higher benchmark. So I'm going to start off by doing Saturday and Sunday, 8 a.m., set my alarm. I'm going to walk for at least 20 minutes in the morning so that I can make sure that I'm out before a lot of other people start to come out and take a walk. So it'll still be in support of social distancing. And so that was very specific. It was measurable because of the time. It was attainable because I know that I'm not going to set the time too early and then end up sleeping past that time. I'm going to make a point to do that. And like I said, in the week, I'm going to do it once or twice. I'll actually just commit to twice during the week that I will get up at a time. I'm going to set it. So say 8 o'clock during the week, I'm going to get up as well. So it's realistic. It's not me saying I'm going to go and run a marathon during that morning time. That's not what I'm saying. And so it's timely. It's specific times. I'm going to do it for 20 minutes and I'm going to do it up to, or I should say, when you're doing SMART goals, you can say a minimum of 3 to 4 days a week. Okay. And that's making sure that your plans are actually attainable, that you're setting it in place. Okay. So I'm giving you guys these tools as far as action planning and giving the tips. I'm going to repeat them again for when you're starting to feel cabin fever. Don't ignore the signs. Be sure to address it. Share what you're feeling with a partner or a friend so they can also be accountable to you. They can call you and check in on you and even give you that relief from just talking with someone, stir things up a little bit, but also make the plan. Make the plan of action to have your schedule, not just for the body. It can be, I'm going to make a schedule, for instance, and I use different books, but this is 31 Days of Prayer by Ruth Myers and Warren Myers. And so it's 31 days. And so I can go through and take it and have that time actually scheduled as well. So it's something very specific. It's not just for those of us that are like, okay, I want to make sure that I do some meditation, or I want to make sure that I pray. It's like, let's be specific. What time, what you're going to do? Are you going to do a devotional? Are you going to do just some mindfulness, deep breathing? What are you going to do for your spiritual health? Okay. And even in regards to scheduling, before I get too far, I wanted to show that I use this productivity planner. I got this on Amazon and it's pretty neat. It actually takes you basically through even the time that you want to set. So I just wanted to share that with you too. If you're just wondering, what are some tools I can use to sort of stay with the structured time, because from a mental health and clinical standpoint, it is best for you to maintain a schedule during this time. So again, we're talking about self-care, and we're talking about making sure you do something about it and be consistent. And that's one of the best ways that you can do it. Before we go, I wanted to also take you down this road of really understanding and helping you clarify, is it just cabin fever? I'm sleeping all the time. I don't have an appetite. I don't even want to do some of the things I wanted to do. I had all of these books that I wanted to read, and then I didn't read them. Whatever it may be, I wanted to give you and provide you the clinical terms when it comes down to whether it's depression, whether it's anxiety, just so that you can know the difference and know how to monitor yourself. So, like, for example, this is my reference, just so that you guys know. And this is known across for so many people. This is the DSM-5. This is the latest version of it. But just wanted you guys to see, this is my reference point of where I'm getting this information, just so that you know. But I wanted to make sure it was really clear. It truly has been just about a week for some people. And I mean, like, even my husband is like, oh my God, I got to get out of here. And I'm just like, well, hold on, it's just been a week. It's like, is it just the fact that you were told you have to stay in that it's like, I got to get out of here? I mean, I even was thinking about, like, I will be putting on, and I actually forgot it. I was going to put on my mask, because it's like, even people that are going out and they're saying, hey, I am getting some fresh air. They're wearing masks. They're not really getting fresh air. But it's like, even for people like me, it's like, what can you do to get out there and make sure that you don't fall into this trap? But just so that you know, and you can spread the word, when it comes down to depression, it is too early to really try to self-diagnose. Like, you really shouldn't anyway, but just wanted you to know some of the differences. So I had jotted down a few pointers, and I'm just going to put it in very simple terms, because not everybody are familiar with some of these terms, the clinical sense of it, but just wanted to give a few little gold nuggets for you to take with you, so that you can just monitor yourself and make sure that it's not cabin fever. So like I said, cabin fever is basically irritability, listlessness, and similar symptoms, basically resulting from long confinement or isolation indoors. It says specifically in the definition that I pulled up that it is usually during the winter, but we know that it really doesn't matter. You can get, that's just where they got the term cabin fever. But ultimately, if you are in a place for confined for a long period of time, these are some of the symptoms that you could get. For generalized anxiety disorder, I just wanted to share that that's usually where you're experience actually excessive anxiety and worry, or even apprehension or apprehensive expectations, occurring more than not each day, but it has to be for at least 6 months. Again, we've been in the house for about a week, maybe if you were self-quarantining, if that's a word, for 2 weeks. But you need to have this excessive worry and apprehension and anxiety for at least 6 months. That's the key there. And there's about a number of events and activities that this is related to, and this isn't necessarily that, at least yet. You may be having some anxiety presentations, but it's not, oh, I have anxiety disorder now. It truly is possibly only cabin fever. So just want you to know that. Some of the other things is you have difficulty in controlling the worry, or you're having a mixture of anxiety and worry associated with 3 or more of the following that I'm going to list. And that is restlessness, feeling keyed up or on edge, being easily tired out, having trouble concentrating, your mind sort of just goes blank at random, muscle tension, and like I say, irritability, and that you're having trouble sleeping. I know that when I found myself getting anxious, I also noticed that I was having trouble sleeping, and that was when I was like, I need to do something about this. So if you're having trouble sleeping along with the anxiety of what's going on, just keep a check on it. And like I said, don't ignore the signs. Be sure to address it head on. Share what you're feeling with a friend or a partner, and make sure to make a plan to start structuring your day and putting in something that's productive and healthy in those gaps. You don't want to leave those gaps there, because it could last longer if you're not distracting yourself. And also something that is very congruent with any diagnosis is that this worry, this anxiety it becomes a clinical concern, not only just because it's been 6 months or more, but it's also when it's disrupting your life, like very important life events. You don't go to work anymore. You're not getting up to cook. You're not able to care for your children if you have children. But it has to be where it's not related to another medical condition, not related to another psychological issue, not related to drug use. You may be feeling anxious if you're using certain drugs, so it's not associated with that. They separate that out. And I like to also add that it's also not associated with like side effects of a new medication or side effects of something that you ate that you ingested that was not of your normal. So some of these symptoms have come up because of that. Now, again, that was anxiety. Going on quickly over to depression. Depression being separate again from anxiety, depression also being separate from cabin fever. Now, when you look at it, there's 5 or more symptoms that you need to have if it's considered depression. 5 or more, and I'm going to list them. 5 or more, but these 5 or more symptoms from the group that I'm going to list here, it has to be those same symptoms within 2 weeks. So those same symptoms within 2 weeks, and it's something that's different for you. We want to look at, culturally speaking, we want to look at just your lifestyle. If it is different, then you want to start looking at this. So I'm going to list off those 5. So depressed mood, and this is again for depression. Depressed mood most of the day or nearly every day. And that's something that either you can report or there's people that may have observed you that can actually say that, oh, I've noticed this about you. There's a significant decrease in interest, decrease in pleasure in things that you would normally get pleasure out of, or almost anything, activities, most of the day or nearly every day. You may have experienced significant weight loss. And when we're saying what's significant, it's like a 5% either increase or decrease within 1 month. And that can also come with an increase or decrease in appetite as well. Again, that's within 1 month span that you notice this 5% difference. And again, not related to a medical condition, not related to any prescription medications or anything like that. Insomnia or hypersomnia nearly every day. That means basically you're having trouble sleeping, whether it's getting to sleep, staying asleep, or waking up and not being able to go back to sleep. And then there's psychomotor agitation. So that's basically, for example, if all of a sudden you're bouncing your leg, your leg is shaking, you are even where it's retardation. And what they mean by that is psychomotor retardation is when all of a sudden it's like your movement is slow and lethargic. And that's not something that necessarily you may notice. So usually if someone tells you, why are you moving so slow? Why is your body shaking, or your hand shaking, or your knee shaking, or something like that? Like something is off that is observed by someone else. And then what everyone usually knows of is fatigue or loss of energy. And that has to be nearly every day that there's a loss of energy. And again, this is going on depression, even though you may experience fatigue or loss of energy while you're dealing with cabin fever. But again, remember the key points that I pointed out, like how long are you having these symptoms and how much is it being a disruption to your life and your normal daily activities. The next one is feelings of worthlessness or excessive or inappropriate guilt. Say nothing really is there, a situation going on for you to feel guilty about, but you just feel guilty and just lost, and it's just excessive. It's not for a reason. Nothing in particular happened. And then 8 of the 9 symptoms is diminished ability to think clearly. So you're indecisive, and this is something that both you may observe and something that others may observe, but it's occurring nearly every day. Another one is reoccurring, and a lot of people really zone into this one, but when there's recurring or repeated thoughts of harming yourself. So repeated thoughts of death. And it's not just, the fear of dying, but recurring suicidal ideation without necessarily having a plan, without necessarily attempting or having a specific, plan in place to carry out a suicide. So when you're depressed, these are some of the symptoms. And I listed 9 of those. And like I said, you would have 5 or more of those 9 to be considered depressed, clinically depressed. But also you would have 1 or these 2 symptoms that I'm about to list. So in the 5 that you would have, one of those 5 symptoms would be either having that depressed mood or losing interest. So I gave you all of that information. I gave you the symptoms of depression, the symptoms of clinical anxiety or generalized anxiety disorder. And I gave you those because I wanted you to know the difference between that and if you're having cabin fever. We are quarantined during this time. Like I said, I'm self-quarantining because I have a compromised immune system. And it's been for some a week or 2 weeks. Some it's only been a few days, but I'm already hearing so many stories of people going nuts. So I really just wanted to share that with you and just let you know that as a reminder, you have to take care of yourself. And the only way that you can do that is pay attention. You have to pay attention to your body. You have to pay attention to what you're eating. You have to pay attention to everything that's going on with you so that you can make sure that you are doing your due diligence to get through this. Everyone wants to get through this and bounce back, as we say, resilience. We want to be able to bounce back from this and make sure that everybody's okay, that we are providing support. So I want you guys to feel free to share this with anyone that wasn't able to join. We thank you for tuning in. And every Friday, we're going to have something. We're going to have a very special guest next Friday joining us on our next live at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're going to have Martisa Miles of Supernatural Success. She is a supernatural success coach and analyst, and she will be talking to us about managing our body and our health. We're going to be hearing on different things that you can do as far as your diet. That is not my expertise, so I'm hoping that you can join us. We will have her here to share with us different things that we can do during this time period. You may be thinking, I'm running to the store and getting what I can get. But again, about surviving this quarantine, we need to make sure that we, again, are attending to our mind, our body, and our spirit. And a lot of times what we put into our body ends up impacting that. And she's going to be joining us then. But otherwise, I thank you guys. I will be excited for you to join us next Friday. Tell your friends, share, and make sure that you follow up. If you have any thoughts, if you have any concerns, if you are concerned that, hey, what you listed here as far as anxiety or depression or even cabin fever, I feel like I'm on the edge. I need help with that, or I need someone to help with coaching me. Even those that are feeling like you need additional help as far as mental health counseling, I am here for you. I am the founder and the senior consultant and therapist for SP Consulting Group. And you can find me and get more information from me on my website. And that's www.officialspconsultinggroup.com. So stay with us. And let's make sure we don't just ignore the things that are going on with us, and that we are tending to our mind, body, and spirit to keep it sharp, to keep us together and ready to bounce back when all of this is over. Again, I am Dr. Teran with SP Consulting Group, and we will be joined again with a great expert with 10 plus years of experience that will be talking to us next Friday right here about how do we manage our bodies? Body management with food, appropriate foods, appropriate vitamins, and she's an amazing expert in this field. So just join us then. So thank you again, and I look forward to having you guys join us next time. All right, take care.